so freaking bad? WrestleMania.
Welcome everybody to Juice Pro Wrestling Podcast, episode 229. Whose house? Well, you're about to fucking find out. With us this week, you may remember him from Warrior Wrestling or Wrestling Inc. or many of the other exciting endeavors he's done. We got the one, the only, Nick Hausman from House of Wrestling.
Nick, how you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing great, Justin. I want to thank you so much for having me on your show and letting me talk about all the things that are House of Wrestling.
Yes, brother, yes. First and foremost, dude, what the fuck is going on with this new venture you're doing? You're not with Raj and Wrestling Inc. anymore? What's the story behind that?
Yeah, no, Wrestling Inc. was sold about a year ago to another company, and they came in and like all acquisitions, you do your best in every way you can, to try to make things work, and got about a year into the experiment, and realized they kind of had their way they wanted to do things, which is totally their right. There's a lot of great people that work over there, and I have a lot of respect for the team over at Wrestling Inc. But I just thought, my wife was in my ear. She's like, why don't you just kind of do this yourself? I had a couple other friends saying, why don't you just kind of do this yourself? You got the name ID right now. So yeah, parted ways with Wrestling Inc., picked up the phone, started calling some people. Next thing I knew, I had my old punk rock guitarist buddy, Kenton Quatman, who's now a Bloomberg web designer, building out houseofwrestling.com. Got in touch with the Premier Streaming Network people, or they got in touch with me. Put together the podcast video deal, got WWE and ROH to sign off on my Los Angeles media credentials, and off into the races we are now, Juice.
Fuck yeah. And dude, speaking of that, so you got Supercard of Honor coming up, and dude, you got WrestleMania 39 2 nights. How are you preparing for that shit, man? Because I don't consider myself I'm just a wrestling media guy, I'm not I have no journalistic integrity. I just want to talk some shit, you know what I mean? But sure. I just know that, I would like to be there, but I don't know if I want to go up and fucking, talk to people and do all that shit, Because, even backstage at Warrior, it's, more, chopping it up, kind of on a personal level. That's what I like doing, as opposed to just, maybe I just don't have the fucking balls to do it, but how do you mentally prepare yourself to do all that shit? I'm assuming you're probably going to be doing quote unquote red carpet or backstage shit,
I don't know that they're going to put me backstage. That'd be cool. Hey, they're more than welcome to, but no, I'll be at the media
rose. They probably saw
what
happened at Brawl Out, and they're like, we got to keep this fucking Nick guy out here. He's going to start some shit.
Well, that wasn't backstage. I was in the media room. I was in the press conference room. Right. I wasn't
That's
backstage.
That's what I mean. Forgive my lack of terminology.
I wasn't holding the dog, protecting its teeth, anything like that. No, it was, I was in the press, and I will be at the press conferences for both Nights of Mania, Stand and Deliver, and Ring of Honor Supercard. But then Thursday and Friday morning, they have the Raw and SmackDown media rows. So I'll be talking to a lot of notable talent from WWE there. Hopefully also get to talk to some talent at some Special Olympics, be a Star Rally events. But no, it is, at first it's really daunting and nerve wracking going in there, and you don't really know, am I going to piss somebody off? Am I going to misstep? That kind of thing. I've just done it enough at this point where I just get excited about it. I like going out, getting thrown somebody. I watch everything. I know a lot. I keep up with all the news. So I wing it, man. I like to have good conversations, ask people about interesting stuff. And it's the kind of coverage, it's the kind of content that really drives the pro wrestling news cycles. Give you an example. Today, I rolled out an excerpt from an interview I did with Dax Harwood, where he was talking about how he was saddled with Otis during the end of their run, and they were trying to teach Otis how to wrestle and all this. And this came up because when I was at the Rumble weekend, I asked Otis about FTR possibly coming back to WWE, and he was not plussed by that. He was just kind of whatever. So now I've got these conversations going, and while it just kind of on the surface is just Dax and Otis kind of going back and forth, they're kind of needling into it. When it gets to the bigger conversation of, is CM Punk going to go to WWE? Is FTR going to go to WWE?
Yeah.
Knowing how people feel on the record about these different people or these different issues. And again, Otis FTR is just one example. Having that kind of firsthand correspondence and coverage it opens up the door to being able to tell better stories when the time comes to write more in-depth articles, you know? So I love being out in the field. I love talking to people, and you know, how do I prep? I drink I'm like you. I drink a couple nice IPAs, smooth down, and get going, man. You know, that's how I prep. Yeah. There you go.
Liquid courage. That's what it's all about. That's all I did at Warrior. I'd come with a backstage with a cooler full of beer. Like, hey, Moose, what's going on? You know, hey, anybody else, what's going on? Here, have a beer.
It helped me. Because you can get the Stone Cold Steve Austin IPAs in Indiana. They don't have them here yet in Illinois. So when you would bring them to me after the show, well, they have them in Illinois, but they don't have them in Chicago. So Juice would bring them to me, and after the show, I'd get to drink Steve Austin beers after calling high-end indie action. And those were the sweetest beers, Juice. They really were. They were the best. They were the best beers. I loved them. Appreciate them.
We'll have to get together soon and fucking chop it up. No, I'll get you some more. He's got a double IPA coming out too in a black can. So you best believe I got to represent.
I'm super stoked I found them down here. I was like, oh my God, if they got them in Gainesville, Florida, fuck yeah. Gotta get some.
I can't do those double IPAs.
What's your favorite beer?
I like IPAs, but double IPAs are too much. I used to be. Yeah, well, it's not that. It's the proof, man. I used to be like dude, you know, and that's the thing is it's like I used to be a proof king or whatever they call it, proof queen, where it was like I just like drinking something where I could say I drank a 12% double IPA. Yeah. Then after a while, I'm like, fuck, my kidneys hurt, you know, and
no shit.
So I get drunk too quick. So I like to this right here. This is a Beezer. It's a Beezer. It's from the Old Irving Park Brewery here in Chicago. It's my favorite beer. I just happen to be drinking it tonight. They had it on sale around the corner. It is a Citra Mosaic hop blend, and as a home brewer, this is the kind of stuff that I really like. It's a wonderful blend. Anyway,
nice. You're brewing your own brew, huh?
Occasionally, my wife and I do it as like a hobby. She's better at it than I am, if I'm being fair.
The House of Hops coming soon? What?
Dude, House of Hops, I'm all about it. See, that's the thing is we got House of Wrestling, but then that opens the door to House of Movies, House of Politics, House of Hops, right? House of hardcore pornography, whatever. Jeez. We're not gonna limit ourselves over here, you know? No.
Hey, we like to do much the same, brother. Much the same.
Good.
Hey, so for everybody out there watching, listening right now, let's kind of get a little bit of background of how you came up and got involved in the business and the wrestling media and all that.
Well, before I got into the wrestling media space, I was obviously doing improv in Chicago. Everybody knows that now. And then Ed Ferrara, who was teaching at Columbia College, used to write Monday Night Raw alongside Vincent Russo.
Barbecue.
Yes. He's the guy who, did that Jim Ross impersonation that was just so tasteful, it's just so, just beautiful. So Ed's a good guy. And I marked out, I was working with him on a project randomly right out of college. And they were like, here's your director. His name's Ed Ferrara. And I was like, are you that Ed Ferrara? And he's like, who do you think I am? And I'm like, I think you wrote my childhood. And then we became friends. And so, so I was taking off in the improv community. And Ed was working in TNA. Cabana had just been fired by WWE and was trying to get a job at TNA, and they didn't have a role for him. And he told Ed that he wanted to learn how to do improv in Chicago, and then Ed sent Cabana my way, which in the long run, very pivotal decision on Ed's part there. This was like 15 years ago. Yeah. And so that's how I wound up doing improv with Cabana. One day, Cabana asked me if I wanted to do anything at a show he was booking. I said I wanted to be Andy Kaufman. He made me a manager. I wound up then doing well with that, and I wound up being a manager in the Chicago Indies for about 4 years before I had a couple really bad bumps where I got knocked out. And I just, I was never trained like a wrestler because they taught me how to do a lot, not a lot, but I learned how to do a fair amount of stuff. But they wanted me to fall differently. They want you to move differently. You're a manager. You're not supposed to move like the wrestlers. Well, that wound up, I got my shit tossed. I wound up fucking my body up pretty badly doing that. And that's when I kind of and I wasn't making any money. And at the time towards the end, I was actually managing Mustafa Ali in Indiana for Proving Ground Pro Wrestling. and great guys. And I just, I was listening to the, live audio wrestling stuff, John Pollock, Wei Ting, the guys who run Post now. And I was like, man, these guys have never spent a day in the business. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You've actually been around for like years now. You know people. Rikishi sat on your face. Rikishi hasn't sat on their fucking faces. Like you should be covering this. You know this better than them. And I don't mean that to be disparaging. I actually talked to John and Wei earlier today. They're wonderful people. But it made me step up and realize maybe I could do this. And that's when I reached out to Nick Paglino over at WrestleZone, became a writer, later an editor, and then here we are 8-9 years later, and I'm creating my own website. So
fuck yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
There's 10,000 feet up. That's how 20 years or so played out. So there you go.
So when you're saying you were taking these bumps and shit, I mean, they just never showed you how to take a proper bump, or like they wanted you to do shit that was just like you couldn't be. I mean, because you can't really protect yourself from any bump, so to speak.
I was told to tuck my head. And that was it. And like I was never running drills. I didn't do any of that, and like the only time, I mean, I got dropped on my head one time real bad on a chokeslam. That was probably what fucked me up. And that was early in my career. But the worst of it was I was doing a show, and I'm sure you guys all know the Beer City Bruiser, Matt Winchester, right? So he was teaming with a guy called Hardcore Craig. I don't know if you guys know Hardcore Craig. He's like a Midwest staple vet, probably maybe a little before your time. He was a vet when I started. So anyway, Craig's this big, scary biker dude. And Craig and Bruiser decide they're going to hit me with a double choke slam. And I'm like, cool. Now, I go to take it, and I wasn't bracing my back. I just let him pick me up, and I was like, if you're loose, it'll be easier. Because you'll fall and you'll just kind of splat. Well,
you'll definitely splat.
That's the wrong thing to do. And so the first one hurt like hell. And then I'm sitting there, or I'm laying there, and the crowd's like, one more time. And fucking Bruiser leans over me. And he's like, kid, we're going to do it again. And I'm like, oh God, please don't do this again. I'm broken in fucking half. And they're like, nope, we're going to do it. They pick me up. They drop me down. Next day, I'll never forget. There's a Super Bowl. I wake up and I can't move. Like, I've never had the sensation of just like, I can't
locked up.
Literally rolling myself onto the floor.
Yeah, like
crawling onto the couch.
Jeez.
Just kind of flopping there. Oh. Took me 3 days to recover from that. It was the worst pain I've ever been in my entire life.
God damn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's something else. I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up, and I hate to be the dead horse, but sometimes a brother needs to double tap.
Sure.
The whole fucking All Out incident with Punk. What was that going through your head when that shit was happening? Because he straight fucking calls you out, like.
I a lot of things went through my head. First of all, this is going to be crazy. Mm-hmm. Second of all, does anybody even know what he's talking about? Like the like Nick Hausman's improv career with Colt Cabana crowd is more than niche audience. And so like, I don't even know that anybody else in the room knows what's going on. When I realized the direction he was going, I started to giggle because I was like, this guy thinks you like Scott Colton, and Scott and I have unfortunately not gotten along here in recent years. But then I was also like, dude, this is dope. CM Punk just told everybody, you're an improviser. Everybody knows me as this journalist. Maybe I can start doing comedy again, right? Maybe I can go back. I got a little clout in the comedy scene again, which actually looks to be happening. Another story. But I was a pig in shit. I was enjoying myself. I knew I was in the middle of what was going to be a huge story, even as we were seconds into it. I mean, this is why you do this stuff. This and I'm not saying that I'm happy, because obviously a lot of people got hurt and some shit got fucked up here. But, this is why I ask questions. This is why I want to know things, because I know there's a bigger story underneath the surface here. And if you poke a bear long enough, it'll swing. And that's what happened, So, I mean, in a lot of ways, I think I got what I wanted. I was very happy with everything. Punk texted me, somehow got my number and verified that I was not friends with Scott Colton and apologized to me the next day. I rolled over. I woke up to a message like, "Hey, it's Phil." I'm like, "Oh my God. Hi, Punk."
Pantera?
I can't call him.
Right.
I can't call him Phil. It's weird for me. He's always Punk. It's weird. But he apologized. He made good with me. You know, like he realized he fucked up and he like apologized and we're good. Yeah. You know, so I know he's capable of that. You know,
that take on it, because I know it's soured a lot of fucking people, and especially
tons of
fans.
people.
And what's kind of your take on that? I mean, because in the business, if anybody knows in the wrestling business, forgive and forget and move on and let's make some money. I mean, look at what's happened in WWE. You know, Ultimate Warriors come back. You know, Goldberg, all these people that were. I'd like to say maybe Warrior had it way worse. They never put out a fucking DVDs just slandering the fucking, you know, CM Punk, you know, like, so proof is in the pudding, man. You can come back and you can do business. And it sounded like for a little while, because I don't know Punk personally, you know, I don't know other than what I fucking see on all the sheets and whatnot, and what he's posting and retracting from Instagram.
True.
That maybe that time was coming. And now it kind of, you know, after the last couple Instagram posts, which is getting really annoying now, seeing everybody copy, put their own shit. It was funny for like 5 seconds, but I'm fucking over it. What are your thoughts on that, man? I mean, do you think it's something, do they need him?
No, I mean, nobody's needed in this business except whoever holds the pocketbook, right? Like AEW needs Tony Khan, right? Without Tony Khan, there's no AEW, for better or worse, you know? Nobody needs CM Punk. Could they use CM Punk? I definitely think a case could be made for that. Absolutely. I wasn't surprised by what, I mean, the people that are out there right now saying things were getting better at him coming back and like burying the hatchet. And, you know, look, it's not what I've been hearing, but I don't want to discount anybody. There's maybe a good chance that things are moving the way they're moving. But from what I was, you know, hearing when I was very close to the story a couple months ago, it would have taken a big Hail Mary to kind of change the direction things were going. It sounded like Punk had his lawyers working overtime and he was pissed. And, you know, you got, you know, Jericho here on the other side, who I don't think Punk ever wanted to work with, you know, and I think Jericho knows Punk never wanted to work with him. So what does Jericho have to lose running this guy out of the company? Nothing. He's gonna what? Take more of the main event space, work with people who will make money with him, right? He's got nothing to lose here. Nothing, you know? Then you got the Bucks and Omega and Callis, the worst. But the Bucks and Omega.
Thank you.
But the Bucks and Omega, and and it's them and it's Pay at a Hangman Page. I just don't know what has happened that is so bad that these men can't talk and make a lot of money together. Like, there's got to be pride, ego, something else going on here. You know, I've been telling people it's not what happened at All Out that I'm interested in, because it's so on the surface what happened at All Out.
Cause and effect. That was the effect. What was the cause? You know,
what happened in those 4 to 6 weeks leading up to All Out? That's the book, right? That's what we want to know. When did it get so bad that Punk felt he had to act like this to be heard? You know, I have a quote in my head right now that I don't know that I necessarily want to use, but I guess I'll throw it out there since I teased it. The reason I say I don't know that I want to use it is because it's about race riots and Martin Luther King, but Martin Luther King said riots are the voice of the voiceless, you know, and riots are a last ditch effort for somebody who feels they've used every resource to try to achieve what they want to do on good terms. If you can't do that, you're gonna riot. You're gonna start to burn stuff down. What made Punk feel that this was the only outlet, this is the only way in which he could address a situation that he must have otherwise felt pretty helpless against, you know?
Yeah,
so I don't know.
I mean, that's how I feel, because it just seemed kind of like out of the blue. It's like, damn, dude, are we having a little bitch fit or what? You know,
I kind of feel like some of that came from that Hangman Page stuff last year with that promo he cut, kind of alluding towards Colt Cabana. And then Punk was stewing on that, and nothing ever came from it. He had a meeting with some people behind closed doors, and he did not like the outcome. He could have been stewing on that and some other little things just building up, like people just kind of giving him the cold shoulder. Who knows?
And like, logic, right? Like if this, then that, kind of stuff. If Colt talked shit about Punk to Hangman Page, then Hangman Page probably felt comfortable saying something like that to Punk on a microphone. And again, the impetus to that is Colt. Like, that's Scott. And if Scott is walking around saying nobody likes Punk, Punk's got a bad reputation, no matter what the fuck else they're talking about, and there are people backstage that owe their careers to Scott Colton, aka Colt Cabana, for the work he did in the podcast and t-shirt space, someone who may not be a main event player might have main event clout to muddy the waters around one CM Punk. So I do wonder. I feel like it's just a breakdown of communication, and in order for communication to work, everybody has to want it to work. It has to be done in good faith, and I do wonder if everyone in this situation was necessarily good faith actors. So right. I think that's the unfortunate truth about it.
Dude, and the thing I've always felt was like if it's such a big, because when it initially happened, I'm like, okay, first of all, the Hangman shit and whatever, that was kind of already there. I guess I could kind of get why he might fucking talk some shit about that. But dude, the Colt Cabana stuff, like you knew he was employed there before you signed on the dotted line.
Yeah.
If you really didn't like this guy, then we're not there. We're not in the room. We don't know the gore details of it all. Like you hear the rumors of, well, he wanted him to be gone or whatever. And I'm not saying that's fucking true because I don't fucking know.
From my prerogative, for what it's worth, or my perspective, from my perspective, I got that word. I got that eventually correct.
Bobby Brown.
I don't think that Punk ever came in saying, I don't want this guy around, or I don't want to work with him. Maybe they wanted separate flights. He maybe didn't want to have to be around him in circumstances, but I don't really know that. But if Tony Khan got the vibe, well, Punk doesn't like Scott or Punk doesn't like Cabana, any decisions Tony Khan makes independent of Punk, and we don't really know what Tony Khan, how he really feels about Scott Colton.
Right.
We know that Scott was hired because the Young Bucks really wanted him there. But, any decision that Tony Khan made about how to handle Colt Cabana, I think that drawing the direct parallel between a Tony Khan decision and a CM Punk directive is an easy correlation to make, but it may not be that straightforward.
Right.
May not be that straightforward.
It's just a horrible fucking situation. It came at a bad time too, and I think the company took a little bit of a hit from that. Like. It's like, oh man, I don't want to fucking see this bullshit. I want drama in wrestling and stuff, and you want that, but you don't want the super toxic shit, to the point where it's like, man, dude, is it really just?
Yeah, but you say that, Juice. You say that, Juice, because you want to be a nice guy. You say that because you want to be a nice guy,
but
right?
I'm not a nice guy.
But I know that's not fucking true. First of all, but you know what? You say that because you think it's the nice thing to say. But the truth is, in your cockles, you want a fucking Conor McGregor, John Jones, UFC press conference. Fuck you. I will break your mother's legs. I'll see you in the goddamn octagon.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you really fucking want. Right?
Hey,
that's what you want.
You
don't give a shit.
It out of me. I can't.
Here's the thing: is like, and I'll go back to an old refrain. This is from the first wave of interviews I was doing. I haven't talked about this in a little while, but Punk obviously did not have the best UFC career, right? But Punk is a great fit for that UFC press style. And when you hang around with combat fighters where they're shooting straight, and I'm either going to apologize to you after you kick my ass, or I'm going to beat this shit out of you and move on, right? Yeah. That's what Punk gave us at All Out. That's what he did. He threw down like a UFC fighter. And guess what? Those guys all go on and make a shit ton of money, And the reason is because it's not a storyline. Because if I talk shit about you and piss you off, I still got to get into an octagon in 3 weeks with you, or 2 weeks, or 48 hours, or whatever it may be.
Right.
You know, the fact that Punk shot like that, and all the parties involved, we can't agree to get into an octagon now because feelings have been hurt. What the fuck is going on?
Right. Everybody's feelings are getting hurt so easily nowadays. Hey, did you watch XPW over the weekend? A lot of feelings got hurt.
Yeah,
I don't watch XPW. I don't want to get into melting down snowflakes or whatever the fuck they're doing over there. I don't ride the Drake train. All right. I've been to Antarctica. I've been through the Drake's Passage. I don't want to be through that Drake's Passage. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, man. But to kind of wrap that up, like I said, maybe the place I come from is it made it easier for the haters to already fucking just pick. Oh, well, yep, they're fucked now. Like I don't like that. Whatever.
I think they're doing fine right now. Push who they have now. Let me see the Darby Allins and the Jungle Boys, MJFs and all that. I want to see them.
I just want ROH to be separate, completely separate. That's my main beef with them.
Oh, they're starting to a little bit.
Yeah. Because like Dalton Castle and the boys are gonna be on Dynamite, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, the problem with it being so separate is you got to pay. What is it? $10 a month for Honor Club?
I think so. Yeah.
Who's paying to watch wrestling right now? I'm going to do it because I have to go to ROH Supercard. I'm going to binge the 4 weeks of ROH tomorrow. I'm going to put down the money. I'm going to put on my business expenses and whatever.
Damn good TV from what I've heard.
I've heard it's really good too.
Yeah.
But dude, TNA did the monthly pay-per-view thing, and granted, it was like $30 an episode, which is fucking ridiculous. But like, it's not a sustainable model. And I don't know how you grow your fan base beyond like 10,000 people for the time being. Yeah. I mean, that's the truth. I mean, there can't be more than 10,000 people watching that. I can't believe they have more than 10,000 subscribers. If they do, whatever. But that seems like the number to me.
That's
for that.
Number I heard too.
Is it
last month? Something around there. Yeah.
It seems like 10,000 feels about right to me, and that's like a Conrad Thompson fucking podcast Patreon.
True.
And Tony's trying to pay a whole goddamn brand off that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, it's a great product.
Yeah. What else are you watching? I mean, because obviously you got to keep up with pretty much damn near everything. What are you watching that you're really enjoying right now?
Oh man, I mean, I watch all the WWE, AEW stuff. I'm gonna work Ring of Honor into my routine here as soon as possible. I try to catch New Japan when I can. Same for GCW. I love what the work that Game Changer does. But honestly, my favorite stuff right now has been at WWE. I think the Bloodline stuff's been fantastic. I think Sami Zayn is just kicking ass. I think that the Mysterio stuff. I mean, to have a storyline like the Bloodline, and then have a sub storyline like the Mysterio family drama, because dude, that Rey Mysterio punch to Dom on Friday night, that rivaled any pop I've heard in the entire Bloodline saga.
And they made us wait for it. That was the great.
Dude, that was the payoff.
Yeah. It was so.
It reminded me of Sabu not touching Taz, or Taz and Sabu not touching for a year, kind of thing.
And here's the thing: is that all of the Bloodline, the Mysterio stuff, the only one in there that I guess you could say is like a name would be Ray. Right? I mean, I guess they're all names, but like a part timer kind of name maybe. But Ray's like a full time wrestler, so he's not even part time. So to have like a main event story, and then have a subplot like the Mysterios that are both just and then it's not just that the Cody Roman, you get two matches out of it. You also get KO and Sammy versus the Usos. Yeah. That's 3 bouts right there of just rostered talent. We're not calling in favors. We're not bringing in Dwayne or Cena's theory. Yeah, whatever. That is what it is. Okay, that's not supposed to be tier 1 storytelling. No. That's just Theory's getting the rub from Cena. I respect it. Respect it. Totally. I just think that I think Rhea Charlotte has been largely very good. The Charlotte stuff on Friday with the what chance was weird as fuck. But I think largely they've done a pretty good job. I'm been happy with that. And AEW, I don't. It's it's a more raw product. It's it's just a very raw. It's more what you would see at like a top tier kind of indie. It's like it's like Joey Janela's Spring Bake, like kind of every week.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the polish to me always, or the focus that I'm seeing on.
You could say it's the story. It's lacking the story. Certain pretty much quit watching because he's like, there's nothing.
Like I feel
my
like,
interest.
I think
The
Tony,
dramatics.
I think Tony has these like big stories in his mind, you know, and it's like he's trying to get from one point to the other, and then there's like 8 weeks in between, and we're just gonna kind of vibe it out,
Right?
Sometimes, because I think the pillars. I love that segment with the pillars and MJF. Great, let's get some of these young talent over. There's the acclaimed the Guns FTR stars. FTR stars.
Oh my god.
What do you guys think? Do you think the Guns beat him clean? You think FTR stays?
I think FTR stays.
That's a good question.
I think they stay.
Knowing they want to work indies
That's just me, though.
but they could still work indies and do AEW.
And Japan.
Not if they have the belts, I don't think, but that's a solid question.
Man.
That's what I hate about knowing too much about wrestling is you have to think of the business side of it too. Like what, how could this story play out?
Dude, when the Guns were in FTR's face and they were just like, you are nothing. I was just like, man, did the Bucks ask you to scream that right in their faces just before you're going to fucking beat him and throw him out of the company? Because it kind of felt like that to me.
You think they're gone or what?
I'm 50-50.
I mean, you talk to Dax. You would know what kind of
toss-up, man. It's a toss-up.
You're about where I'm at.
And here's the thing: he's playing his cards really well. I've heard the PWI Observer reports where they're like, Tony Khan's having him do this. He already knows they're locked down. They wanted to build intrigue around it. Doesn't explain why FTR hasn't been on TV in 3 months. Just got pulled out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I still need to see FTR and the Bucks go at it in front of a crowd. I still need to see that for the titles.
Dude,
I'd really love to see it.
I did ask Dax about it. I was like, dude, man, it seemed like it was just right there. Why didn't it happen, man? All the gold, you and the Bucks. He's like, I don't fucking know. Dude, I thought it was going to happen too.
Yeah. Should have. Son of a bitch. That'd have been great.
Crazy shit going on in the world of pro wrestling. What about Impact? Have you been keeping up with the shit they've been doing?
I don't really like Impact. And
really?
I don't really like Impact. I don't like Scott D'Amore. I think he's a weirdo. I think that Don Callis's imprint. I think Don Callis is not a good guy. I think that him and Scott running that show was really bad. And I think that they are the last alternative for people looking to make money, and in a lot of cases they have taken advantage of people in that situation. And so I don't really like Impact. I don't support Impact. I don't like them.
Okay.
I mean, I like people that work. I like wrestlers that work there. I have friends that work there, but I think that management there is a little screwy, and I'd personally like to just see the company sold to somebody else.
Not Tony Khan though.
I mean, hey, sell him to Principal Steve. He'd be great. Can you imagine Steve running Impact Wrestling? He'd be way better.
Yeah.
Principal Steve over Scott D'Amore.
Yeah,
please.
For sure. Shout out to fucking
I'm in.
Steve and the
I'll
boys at Warrior, man.
All day.
Fresh off a show.
Yes, for sure.
Up in Michigan.
Was that not the answer you were expecting? Were you expecting me to say something different?
No. I mean, I ask it because I'd like to know. I don't know the fucking answer.
If you go back, there's an interview I did with a guy named Chris Levin, who has since been Me Too'd and is probably not the best person to be referencing, but he was outspoken. He spoke with me on the record about his release from Impact and had some very interesting comments to make about an internal investigation that was conducted there. And I did quite a bit of research into, and yeah, those people need to go. It's not good. It's not good over there. Scott D'Amore is a weirdo, and he got promoted. They made him like president, and I'm like, wow,
yeah, he's president. Yeah.
Well, Lynn Asper. I'm sorry. Well, Lynn Asper is the guy who owns Anthem Sports Entertainment, and he's the one who promoted Scott. That guy's also a weirdo. Everyone there is fucking gross, at least in management, except maybe Gail Kim. I like Gail. Gail's nice.
Gail seems cool.
Gail's cool.
Seems like a sweetheart.
She can stay. She can own it.
Her husband's cool.
Dude, if they sold it to her and Robert Irvin, do you know how badass that would be?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have Tommy Dreamer be your GM.
Tommy can go.
He's like, Tommy can go.
Tommy can go. I literally said Gail maybe. That was it.
Right, Gail, maybe. That's right. I'll draw the line. Gail can.
You brought Dreamer, and I'm like, yeah, okay, no, he can go. He can go.
What about MLW?
MLW's good. I'm enjoying watching MLW. I've caught a couple episodes of MLW Underground. Happy for Court. I am interested to see how their lawsuit plays out with WWE. I worry they're potentially expending too much of their resources on that, and it may be a detriment to their ability to expand or pay for
Paul Heyman ECW type situation. Always get involved
yes
in lawsuits, spending money where you should just say fuck it.
Yes, I worry a little bit about that, but Punk had the All Out scrum. They are going to have their lawsuit. They're going to make their voices heard, and I support them in that regard. I just want to make sure that they stay focused on the prize here, and their production could be tightened up a little bit. I don't really know outside of Fatu and Hammerstone like a story from MLW in the past 3 years. So I think that they could definitely use like a hook.
Yeah.
They tried the Azteca Underground thing, and it, for a lot of reasons, just didn't work. I mean, it's not Lucha Underground. It's like a variation of didn't become a secondary show. So, I would back off on that. But there's a lot of talented people there. And, I'm always rooting for them. They've always been great to me.
Fuck yeah. What do you so you got Mania, dude, it's the biggest fucking thing and to a lot of people, like entertainment wise, it's somewhat of an even bigger spectacle than fucking the Super Bowl. What are you looking forward to the most as far as watching, being there in attendance?
Well, I think I'll answer it two ways. First of all, I think, again, like the matches I listed, the Mysterios and Bloodline matches, I think those are going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to, since I'm running houseofwrestling.com, for the first time, it'll be in the press box. I have been assigning stuff and asking people to write stuff and coming up with ideas. And I'm usually actually pretty fucking bored in the press box. And so like, I'm really excited to be able to sit there, and I'm not going to be doing like a WrestleMania results thread like a lot of websites do. I'm going to be writing posts from the booth about things that happen on the show that are really meaningful, and trying to help to flush those stories out and give that in the room feel, that vibe to everybody in the written form, and just write, man. I've been writing so much more recently, and I just love writing and getting back to writing and finding my voice. And I think I have 42 posts on houseofwrestling.com, and it's just been a lot of stuff that people didn't get to see. I was doing quietly while we were prepping the website. And now that we know the website didn't break and everything is fine when we open the doors, I'm just looking forward to just writing content.
Hear that,
people will,
ladies and gentlemen?
get
House
excited
of
about.
Wrestling is fine.
House of Wrestling is fine. I'm just like Effie. I'm fine. House of Wrestling stands.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Effie, dude. What about GCW, man? They they're just everywhere, and Brett's trying to take it, in all these different directions and shit. Is that something that like a promotion that you guys are going to be covering a lot of? Or you mentioned earlier that you're a big fan of what they're doing.
Yeah, no, I hope to. Yeah, I definitely want to be doing a lot of coverage of GCW stuff. I already hit up Brett, plan on being around the collective during Mania weekend to the best of my abilities and doing what I can to cover the action there. I think that Brett Lauderdale is the most underrated figure in professional wrestling of this era. We talk about how Tony
Definitely
Khan,
a hustler, man. Definitely a hustler.
And we talk about how Tony Khan is like not always having focus with the AEW storylines, and I think that Brett has done a fantastic job of being a lazy river and letting the talent and the stories guide him. Just the ability to sit back and say, hey, what if I let my talent brand their own shows and gave them the autonomy and the resources to do these great things? That's not a mainstream thing.
No.
No other promoters are doing that. Like it's a very specific thing to GCW that is happening. I think that, him, when he brings in somebody like a Matt Cardona, Brett's not sitting here telling you exactly how it's going to be. We're going to do that. From all experiences that I've had with Brett and the talent that work at GCW, it's a very collaborative experience where everybody's getting to have a voice and come to a solution or an idea or story that they all agree on. And I love being in that space. I love being in that environment. It's a highly creative space. They are not, they probably are making millions of dollars because look at the fight stuff, but they are definitely not the biggest fish in the pond, but they are a fascinating business to watch. And I think that more of the big dogs will be copying Brett and GCW until they can or do successfully put him under a deal with them. I would have, if I'm Tony Khan, I'd have bought off Brett a while ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah, especially being, dude. They're like, as far as independent wrestling goes, they're throughout the whole country. They're definitely the biggest indie fed. Can you imagine if Tony let Brett book ROH and just was like, hey, make ROH like GCW. I'm going to buy you and GCW. GCW is retired. Long live ROH. And I say that, and you're like, well, it's not that same. But when you look at Ring of Honor, they would do the Truth Martini, sexy strip nights and things like. They kind of had. They had those AEW uncensored shows where Cabana would book it or whatever. They kind of had those kind of stylized shows that Brett's gotten really good at. And if you really wanted to get the most out of talent on a minimal budget in a creative way, fuck man, I'd give the book to Brett and just let ROH become GCW, which is already working for you because you're raiding that pipeline every chance you can get. No longer have them out there as your competition, and you bring it into a space that people are going to enjoy. That's just my 2 cents. No, I agree with that. It's a very interesting take on that. They definitely, with the collective, just right, that whole thing right then and there is like, holy shit, that's so awesome. It's so fucking badass that you can give, what you have, the World on Lucha, you got For the Culture, you got Effie's Big Gay Brunch, all this shit that gives you a different taste and a different show. And at the same time, you're allowing these men and women who work for you to get a different take on the wrestling business, to be able to produce a show. And it's like, I love everything about it. Like it's fucking awesome, and do that shit around Mania weekend when you can bring everybody together from every generation, all walks of life, dude. It's, I don't even have the words for it. It's super cool, and no one else is out there really doing that. And he fucking, I will give him credit for that, dude. He took the ball and fucking ran with that, and that formula has fucking worked. And I'd like to see it. Yeah, what is it? Once a year that they're doing it, maybe twice a year. Kind of ramp it up a little bit.
I'll be honest, man. They don't need to do the collective twice a year, because they're doing a good job, I think, throughout the year. Between the Jersey Championship Wrestling stuff and their Japanese, and the Japanese LA fights, the Japanese tours. I think they're going down to Mexico now every so often, and the fact that they've branded their house shows as the World versus GCW. Brett didn't have to come up with a million different movie fucking parody themes or names.
I know everybody does the parody.
Yeah, whatever. He's just like it's just the world on GCW fucking tour, right? And then that's just it. The world on GCW is coming to you. Great, brilliant. Once again, Brett has simplified and made this easy, right? Those shows are doing good. International shows are doing good. You can look forward to the collective. Big Gay Brunch is happening multiple times throughout the year now. I wish For the Culture would expand. I don't know why, but that would be another thing I would really like to see gotten behind. And not that Brett isn't obviously very much behind For the Culture, but it's whatever. I'm a big fan. So I definitely think that the idea of doing more big shows or events like the collective is great. But you gotta understand, he's doing a great job of creating all these other individual little things that are all going to find their own life, just like the collective. And that's where your big four events, your tentpole events are going to come from with GCW as they continue to try to find what is the next collective? What is that next thing we can say once a year? We're doing this too, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. I mean, they're definitely the ones that do that. They, like I said, it's just, it's like an ECW, modern day EC dub, you know?
Love it.
It's fucking crazy.
I love seeing their evolution too. Sorry, not to interrupt you, but I love seeing their evolution through this because I remember them being hardcore deathmatch and then just kind of bringing everything else in, and now where they're at now and what kind of stories they're telling. I think that was just great to watch.
I think I'm over death matches.
Really?
I think I'm done, and it's like it's unfortunate. And I don't know if it's just old.
Were you ever a really big fan of them though? That's the question.
I was, because when I was a kid, what got me in the first wrestler I was ever a huge fan of was Mick Foley, and it's because I got my hands on Have a Nice Day, A Tale of Tube Socks and Sweatpants and whatever I think that's actually the name of it. I think I got it right. But I read that book back to front probably a dozen times. I would have to tell my parents we couldn't use the phone because I had to use the dial-up to get on the internet to find Japanese wrestling recaps of like barbed wire death matches between Mick and Terry, and then I'd sit there and I'd print all the pages off. There's a binder back at my Focus House. It's like a stalker's fucking binder. It's just all this shit about Mick Foley.
Yes.
And I've told Mick about this. I'm like, dude, I was obsessed with you, man. And he's like, yeah, you're not the only one. There was a lot of weird kids that really seemed to like identify with me. And I'm like, I was that. Anyway. And so, anyway, I was early in on deathmatch wrestling. The Kawasaki Dream, all of that stuff brought me in. What really changed my mind on it, and I'd already kind of started to, go back and forth. I'm gonna get a little personal here. But my friend Marcus Crane passed away about a year ago, and Marcus, deathmatch wrestler, the Snowman, influential, blah blah blah. Marcus fucking Marcus Crane, greatest of all time, big Devil's Big Red Dick. Yes, exactly like you said. But he was doing a death match. It was a fans bring the weapons death match, and like somebody, I don't know if you guys know the story of what happened to Marcus, but like somebody brought a staple gun and threw it in like the fans bring the weapon thing, and they didn't put like the paper staples in there. They put like a roofing staple in the staple gun, and somebody walked up to Marcus and just fucking popped him in the head with this thing and broke his skull and wound up having part of his head removed, and then eventually after trying to get his life cleaned up and all that, unfortunately passed away. And I think Marcus would probably be here today if it wasn't for deathmatch wrestling. And I do wonder if the squeeze is worth the juice, if the risk is worth the reward.
I think that really matters to the person though,
I agree.
If he was here today, like to be able to come back and say, hey man, I met my demise because of that, but
I might sit here and tell Marcus, as your friend, I love you. I wish you hadn't. It might mean something. Right. I don't know. I can't have that conversation because Marcus isn't here.
Right.
And coulda, woulda, shoulda. Right.
Yeah.
It's just hard for me now to sit here and just be like, yeah, because I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, it's supposed to be fucking fake.
Wow, God, you just got bleeped. God damn it.
It is. Like we're supposed to
the whole episode without.
I'm supposed to
swearing.
Show up and throw you a punch that looks like I hit you like a train off the rails, and you go home and kiss your kids and go to bed. Yeah. It's not supposed to be.
My kids, they're fucking brats.
Well, it's not supposed to be an actual death match, and when it is,
right. No, that
makes me kind of think twice. And I know Nick Gage,
and it's more
Nick
personal.
Gage died.
It's your homie,
Yeah, well, Nick Gage died and came back, and he still does it, But again, you're right. To a person, I don't want to judge anybody. Live your lives, be happy. But it's harder for me now, to just like flatly endorse deathmatch wrestling like I used to, where it was just like, yeah, you want to do it, great, whatever. I'm just kind of like, I don't know, man. Think about it.
You should get like a Dare shirt, like, but against like deathmatch wrestling. That'd be cool.
Great. Do you know how many fucking pizza cutters I'd catch at a GCW walking around in that fucking? They'd kill me. I'd be Dahmered, eaten alive.
Dahmer. What, are they gonna take you home and fuck your dead body?
You know those people? Yes. Just kidding.
Right.
I hope to never meet
Just
them,
kidding.
but sadly,
Just
there's a
kidding.
lot of indie shows you go to. That guy, it just ain't right. And this
Come
guy
on
over
now.
here smells really bad.
Nah, he's eating people.
Dude, you've interviewed a lot of fucking
Half the
people. You've
people.
met a lot of fucking legends and
Got that
shit,
good.
guys that I'm sure that you popped a fucking jub for when you're like, hey, they're in your presence. How you doing? Who are some of your most favorite and genuine people that you've met and been able to work with and what you're doing these last fucking decade or so that really stand out to you?
Well, former referee, WWE referee Jimmy Corderas is an amazing human. I love speaking with Jimmy. Teddy Long, Holla Holla player,
Oh, hell yeah.
is an amazing human being. I love talking. I will be talking to Teddy Long tomorrow for houseofwrestling.com. He is going to be one of the first people on the site.
Yes.
Cannot wait for that. I love talking to Chavo Guerrero and Conan.
Dude, I want to talk. You got to hook it up, man. I'd love to chop it up with Chavo. Oh, dude, I loved his dad too, man. Like,
Chavo's amazing.
I always
Yeah.
he's got a beer out too, man. I fucking
Yeah, he's got. I think I got the can up here.
Do you? Did you drink?
So this is Chavo's.
Shout
This is
Chavo.
Chavo's beer. This is Los Guerreros Mexican style lager.
Yes, and I love Mexican lagers, dude. I drink Modelo on occasion. I love
Hell
fucking
yeah.
Soul. I love fucking. That's
But-
not really a lager, but I guess.
So
Soul's the best.
I was talking to Chavo in an interview about his beer. I started nerding out about all the beer. He wound up sending me the beer. And that's the only reason I got the beer is because he personally sent me the beer. That's why I kept the can. I don't know that you can get it anymore. If you do, I think it's out in like California. But he
Yeah.
told me he wants to buy the rights to the beer and the like
The
recipe and everything. And he wants to, I mean, he didn't outright say it, but I was like, dude, are you going to go work with Steve Austin? Like, I think him and Steve Austin might collaborate. I
That
think
could happen, dude. And Austin's got mad respect for the fucking Guerreros, dude. The fucking
Oh, yeah.
Texas boy, dude. And come on, not to mention just working with them as a fan, like,
but I mean, like, that's
dude,
it.
that would be.
Because like Cabana kind of started the shirt trend. Like
Yeah.
Steve Austin could make a mint being the one to bring everybody in, and if they want to watch their little pro wrestling beer brand, he might have the distribution model to make that happen. You know?
Yeah, he definitely does. And here's the thing, man, because it's a good little transition into what we all know and love so well is beer, cold beer. Dude, that would be awesome, and it would sell because these guys are all. It doesn't matter. It's like any wrestler doing a podcast. People are going to listen whether it's good or bad because it's a fucking popular wrestler. And Steve just got lucky and happened to have a damn good, fine, accessible IPA. But that should give you mad hangover because you just fucking pound them, man. They're so they go down smooth for an IPA. But if you're to bring anybody else in like Chavo and then branch off from that, look what The Rock's doing, dude. He's selling tequila, energy drinks, anything. That's what the world's come to now. If I had any sort of fame or notoriety, I might take the Gene Simmons route and just brand everything. Juice Pro Wrestling toothbrush, fucking. Why? Because everybody needs a toothbrush.
Everybody needs a House of Wrestling T-shirt,
Yes.
right?
ProWrestlingTees.com
Yes, buy the shirt.
/ we'll get that out in a minute.
Everybody needs a House of Wrestling microphone flag.
Dude, where are you getting those from? Because I've tried. I don't know what they're called. I just fucking tape a sticker to my.
This is called a microphone flag.
They're called flags.
They're called flags.
I'm Googling microphone box, custom microphone boxes. Yeah, fuck yeah.
So this is the one I have for my company, House of Wrestling, and this is the premier streaming network one. Now you can see this one's a box, right? I like this one because my logo is a box.
Yeah.
Theirs is a triangle, right? So there's different kinds of flags.
That's more of an MMA mic right there,
Well, these premier streaming folks, premier streaming network folks, you got it all figured out. They're smart people.
So as we wind down here, that's a good thing to go into. Where, obviously the website, you want to pop into your social media, sell some fucking merch.
Just go to houseofwrestling.com. All the information about how to engage with us is there. It's a beautiful website. I really hope you enjoy it. I'm enjoying.
that's true.
It's gorgeous. Go find the website and check it out. All the news at Wrestling House on Twitter and on Instagram, House of Wrestling on Facebook and Twitch. And this has nothing to do with House of Wrestling, which you can go support. But we were supposed to talk about the Tetris movie.
We are. I said as we wind down, motherfucker. I didn't say stop.
Okay. I didn't know if we were going to get it in.
You've done this before, man.
I don't because we're in the overrun now, and I didn't know if we were going to get into it or not. But the Tetris, so I got a free. So I didn't a free. It was a $5 ticket, but there was an advanced screening about last Wednesday in my neighborhood in an Alamo Draft House for the Tetris movie, which is coming out on Apple TV. And I'm not being paid for this, and you do not have to bleep this. It's just free publicity for the Tetris.
All the time, never get paid.
This movie slaps. This movie fucks so hard. I love this.
Faces.
10 stars out of 10 stars from Nick Hausman.
Ooh,
it is the high. This is
so
easy, Meltzer.
Go ahead.
For those people that don't know though, and dude, we're fucking gamers, dude. We just had a fucking, the guy developing one of the successors to the
Hell yes.
engine, on last week. So shout out to Sam and Ultra Pro Wrestling.
Ultra Pro.
Check it out.
Sure.
But we're huge gamers. You talk about Tetris before we went on air tonight, and I'm like, oh yeah. And Sret was just like, what does he hit me up? He's like, where he get a Super Nintendo, like so I could play Tetris. Just get an Xbox. They have that shit on there too.
Yep, everybody's the same.
Okay.
But
I know what you mean. Nostalgia, dude.
But dude, we're huge fucking game fanatics. I knew nothing about this till you started telling us before we went on air tonight. So Tetris movie, what does this involve? Like, what is it about? Because it's like saying throwing a weird video game out there that like, wow, they have who would have ever thought there would have been a Clue movie or some shit,
Well, but here's the thing. So like you see Clue or you see Battleship and it's like a movie
Battleship.
What? Like,
no.
It's like, or it's a movie about the game, right?
It involves the game's tactics and technique.
And maybe you
Alone
could do
in the dark.
And there's a lot of directions you could go with Tetris. If there's a great movie or documentary on Netflix called The Speed Cubers, or that's about Rubik's Cube. Sorry, I'm looking at Rubik's Cube right now. But there's Tetris. A lot of directions you could go with Tetris. This is a movie about the origin story of the actual game. So it's about this guy, Hank Rogers, right?
Yep.
Okay, because you watched the Tetris.
Somewhere I watched a documentary that gave about the story, so I know about the story.
So this guy Hank Rogers is like an independent video game publisher, all right, and he sees this Tetris game at a conference and is like, "Fuck, I got to get the rights to this game. This game's addictive. This game is everything." He sneaks in. I don't want to give the whole movie away, but he like sneaks into the He sneaks into the Nintendo headquarters. This is only the first couple minutes. He sneaks into the Nintendo headquarters and is like, guys, check this out. And they're like, if you can get us the rights to this for handheld and for video games, we'll give you a lot of money, right? And that's kind of the premise of the movie. What he doesn't know is Tetris is created by this guy in Russia. And anything created in Russia in 83, I guess, when this is going on, like still communist USSR Russia, is owned by the government. So even because it's communism, everybody owns everything. So since this guy creates Tetris, the government's like, he created it here, that's ours. So this guy's going over to Russia at the height of the Cold War as the USSR is collapsing. And it's like, I'm going to negotiate with Gorbachev's government to get the rights to the video game Tetris. Okay. Yeah. It is fucking wild. It is off the rails. It is dramatic. It is funny. It is action packed. It is. I will be rewatching this movie for some time because I enjoyed it that much.
Nice.
And I have seen.
When's this thing come out?
March 31st on Apple TV. I think it's Thursday. So everybody can watch it for free, or not for free. You got to pay for it. Apple TV. Dude, it fucking ruled. I
always pay for your streaming services.
And I was on edibles. Like I had taken 40 milligrams of gummies.
Yeah.
Dude, I was having the best fucking time of my life watching Tetris the movie. It was great.
Nick's not here, man.
It was great. And like at an Alamo Draft House, they have like a real menu. They brought me chicken tenders where the chicken had been brined for 24 hours with in-house hand-cut French fries,
salted water,
and whatever kind of local IPA. I forget what it was. It was a local IPA. I forget. It was great. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching Tetris and I'm peeking on 40 milligrams of fucking edibles. And I'm like, beep, 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 beep. And they give you this little like Rubik's Cube for free because they wanted the experience to be heightened because that's how it works at an Alamo Draft House, right? And so anyway, go see the movie. We've gone so off the rails here.
The story is amazing.
dude. There's
I
no
wanna
rails
thank
to
so
go off
good.
of. They're all a little crooked.
It's good.
Yeah.
All right, are we done? Houseofwrestling.com. Are we done?
Yeah, we're fucking done. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Check out fucking houseofwrestling.com.
Yeah.
Links. Buy some fucking merch.
Buy the shirt.
Fucking news in your jargon. It's where you get it. Oh, and hit that like and subscribe button. Share any podcasting platform. Rate and review. ProWrestlingTees.com/JPWTees. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that shit. We're everywhere, anywhere, all the time. Hit us up. And until next time, we about to wet you up, motherfuckers. Wet them up. Wet them
Wet 'em
up.
up.
Wet them up.
Wet 'em up.
Oh, yeah, Wrestling, it's fucking insane.
You gonna do sex to me?
Did you like that video? If so, be sure to hit like and subscribe and check out more killer content from your boys at Juice Pro Wrestling. Whoa, yeah!